everyone, and welcome to day 9 of Climate Action Fortnight. That was one of the hard-hitting videos that we found online, which we thought was sort of very pertinent today around water. So today, obviously, I think everyone by now probably knows who I am. I'm Lee Jowett, Schools Coordinator, and in the background today working is Amy, who's making sure that everyone appears on screen at the right time. I'm really excited today to be welcoming you to our Water Day. So we've got 3 speakers today. We've got Phil Pearce, who's got a pre-recording from Severn Trent. We've got Laura Betts from Loris, who's going to be talking about a really exciting environmental general project today. And then we've got our second part of our poets and our poet competition. In terms of our activities, we've got several activities related to water and getting you to think about water in school as well as at home. And we've got our documentary media centre running this morning into this afternoon, and that can be found on our Facebook channel, which is EMV Education Leicester, and that'll be live from 11 o'clock today, which has got lots of interviews from people in Leicester, including myself and Councillor Clark, and also some students from a number of schools, including Millgate, who have been working on a media centre activity themselves. So without further ado, we'll hand over to our first speaker today, who is Phil Pearce, who is the Education Officer at Severn Trent. And Phil's going to be talking all about how we can save water at home. So I'll hand straight over to him with our pre-recording.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Phil Pearce and I work for a company called Severn Trent Water. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today to talk to you guys during your Climate Action Fortnight. I hope it's all been going really well so far. I'm here today to talk to you all about water and why water is super important and what we can do to help. I've got some friends along with me to help me talk about these, because be honest, it'd be quite boring sitting here listening to me talk for 10 minutes. So to help me show you what the water companies in this country do, and there are 16 of us, let me introduce you to Molly, and she will run through it for me.
Have you ever thought about where the water in your tap has come from? Or even where it goes after going down your drain? Let's find out together. All our water comes from rivers, reservoirs, which are simply big man-made lakes, and groundwater. Groundwater is the water that is found underground in the cracks and spaces in soil, sand and rock. From there, it is taken and cleaned at water treatment plants. It takes just 3 hours to clean river water into tap water. Once treated, it is put into blue pipes and travels to our homes, where we use it for lots of different things. We have 2 different coloured pipes. Always remember, the blue pipe means clean water. All of the water we use in our houses starts off clean, but once we've used it for washing, drinking, bathing and using the toilet, it becomes dirty from all our wheeze, poos and daily grime. We can't keep this in our homes. It needs to be cleaned again. We send it down the plug hole or flush it down the toilet, where all the waste comes together and forms what we call sewage. The sewage travels through pipes to the sewage treatment works, where it gets cleaned and the waste is removed. It takes just 24 hours to clean the sewage into clean water again. We even turn our sewage into electricity and fertiliser for the farmers. We call this poo power, which goes to power our homes. The clean water then goes back into our rivers, and this is what we call the journey of water. Pretty cool, huh? This magical system makes sure we always have water to drink and brush our teeth, as well as ensuring we always reuse and recycle our sewage.
Thank you, Molly. So that is what we do at the water companies in this country. We clean the water that comes from the rivers and the lakes and underground, and we make it nice and safe for you guys to drink, for all of us to drink actually. And then we all do what we do in it. We wash our hair if you've got some, we wash cars, we brush our teeth, we have baths, showers. It all goes into the sewers, comes back to the water companies who clean it before we put it back into the river. Now, this is a super important job, because what do you think would happen if we didn't clean the water? Shall I show you a picture of what happens if we just let sewage go straight back into the river? So that's what it would look like. What do you think that would do to the fish and the animals and all the plant life around the river? Yeah, you're right. The pollution would kill it all off, and it would make the water undrinkable for us too. So it wouldn't be good for us in the long run either. So we have to be really careful about how we get rid of things, and we do a super important job here at Severn Trent in making sure that our rivers stay nice and healthy. Now, everybody thinks we're really lucky in this country because we have running water and we have sewers and we clean the sewage, and that we don't have any problems. But this is not true. Okay, so yes, we don't have the problem some countries have. In some countries, you have to walk miles to go and fetch some water from a well or from a dirty river, and you won't have sewers, and it will just be running down in the streets. Lots of disease and stuff like that. But we still do have problems in this country. Our problems are a little bit different, but they do affect the whole world. So the first major problem that we have is the size of the population. The population in the whole world is increasing every single day, but the water that we have is staying exactly the same. And that's because we don't make water. The water on this planet has been here for billions and billions of years and stays the same amount. We just keep reusing it. Okay, so we need the water cycle to work properly for that to happen. Okay, we need to be really careful. The way that we use water has changed. So in the 1960s, we did a survey at Severn Trent, and in the 1960s, the average person used about 90 litres of water a day. Today, in 2020, the average person uses 150 litres of water every single day. So we are using 60 litres more each per day as a population. And if you times that by everybody, if you look around you and see all your friends, and times 60 just by the people in your class, and see how much extra water every single day we are using. And as I say, we don't make new water, we just keep using the same. So it's still the same amount of water, but we have to share it amongst more of us. Okay, but the really big problem that we are having, and we are starting to see here at the water companies, is with drought. Now, drought means we don't get any water because there's been no rain. And in 2018, we had a great big event in this country where we didn't have any rain for nearly 30 days. And all of our rivers, lakes and reservoirs were all starting to dry out. Now, these pictures that you see in front of you now, these are all from the UK. In the south of the country especially, their rivers and lakes were drying out so fast because they had hotter temperatures than we had up here in the middle of the country. They had to ban hose pipes from being used in people's gardens. So you weren't allowed to wash your car and you weren't allowed to water the garden. You could get in very serious trouble for doing it. So we have to be really careful about how we use our water, even here in the UK. Okay, it's not just a problem in other countries, it's a problem right here for us today. So we all need to change what we're doing. And here at Severn Trent, we are changing the way that we do things. We are trying to be a carbon neutral company by 2030. So what that means is we are changing all of our cars and our trucks and our vans that we use. They're going from being petrol and diesel to being all electric. We are also putting in more wind farms and solar panels on our sites, making our own electricity. Currently, we make about 45 to 50% of our own electricity at the moment, so we are doing really, really well. We are also doing a thing, oh, you saw in the video, Molly told you all about electricity we can make from your poo. So we can make electricity from poo. Your school could be running on poo power. And another thing that we are doing as a company is we are doing a thing called the Great Big Nature Boost. You might have seen the advert on telly. Here's the graphic for it. And what this means is we are planting 1.2 million trees. We are cleaning over 4,000 miles of rivers that run through our counties. We are replanting and re-establishing natural habitat and bog areas and peat areas and stuff like that to try and encourage the natural habitat to re-establish, because we now know how important it all is, even to water. All these things, the trees and the plants and the soil, are super important to water. They help make our water cleaner, and they help us do our job a lot better, as well as making our environment a lot better place. So please all do whatever you can, because even the smallest tiny little thing will help. Because if everybody did just one small thing, it makes one big thing. So think about some of the things that you've learned over the last 2 weeks and put them into action. Maybe you're going to walk or cycle to school instead of getting in the car, or maybe you're going to plant some trees or plants, or one of the other fabulous projects that you're learning about. But please do try and do one of them. Thank you ever so much for listening to me today. I hope that you've learned a little something about your water. Please go away and think about how you're using your water, because using less water means we can use less electricity too, because we don't have to use as much electricity to clean it or pump it. So even using less water helps. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to get your teacher to email me at philip.pierce@severntrent.co.uk, or get them to pass on the questions to Lee, and Lee will pass them, or Lee or one of the eco team at Leicester City Council will forward them on to me, and I will happily answer any questions that you've got. And thank you very much for listening to me today. Bye.
Brilliant, thank you there, Phil. I think I've learned something there. I know every day is a school day, but I certainly think I've learned a couple of things there around water. So that's great. I'm going to hand over straight away to our next speaker, who is Laura Betts from Loris, who's going to be talking about a really exciting project that I know our team are really keen to work with. So I'll hand straight over to Laura, if that's okay. Over to you, Laura.
Thank you, Lee. Good morning, everybody. I also have learnt a lot about water in that video. So yes, it's a great thing for me to see as well. So thank you all for having me. As Lee said, I'm here to talk about a very special project called Rocket Round Leicester. So when people think about rockets or space, they might think about Mars, they might think about astronauts floating around in space. They wouldn't necessarily think about climate research. So you're probably wondering why I'm here. But Earth is a planet too, and you might not know it, but NASA is one of the biggest players in the Earth science arena. NASA and the really intelligent scientists who work there, they observe our climate from the vantage point of space. And they spend billions of dollars each year doing Earth science, and they've got more than a dozen satellites orbiting around our planet. Those satellites carefully watch our oceans and our land and the ice and the atmosphere and the biosphere. And so actually there's a very, very special link between space and Action Climate Fortnight. So now that I've set the scene a little bit about why I'm here, I wanted to tell you specifically about the Rocket Round Leicester project. So what it is it's an amazing art trail, and it's landing in our city centre next summer. So we've heard that there's going to be an invasion of around 40 giant space rockets, and they're going to land on the streets in our city centre. Everywhere you look, there'll be brightly coloured rockets, and everybody will be talking about them. So during the first lockdown, when hardly anyone was around, there was actually 1 or 2 sightings of rockets in the city centre, and someone managed to take a couple of pictures. So I thought I would show you them today because I thought you might be interested. So bear with me while I share my screen. You should be able to see now a space rocket outside the Newark Museum, and that space rocket has been decorated by an artist who lives out in Gloucestershire, and he's painted it to look like, I don't know whether any of you have seen the film Back to the Future, but there's a very special car in that called the DeLorean, and this rocket has been painted to look like the DeLorean. So that had landed just on our city streets in the first lockdown, and somebody managed to get a picture of it, so that was very exciting. And then I wanted to show you another rocket that was sighted in Leicester, again earlier this year. Feels like it needs a drum roll. So this rocket has been decorated by a lady who lives over in Nottingham, and she's used, well, I was going to say millions, but thousands of pieces of mosaic to decorate this rocket, and this one's called Stardust. So it's made up of sort of mirror ball pieces and white tiles and sparkly tiles and pearlescent tiles, and that one there has been sighted in Victoria Park just outside the War Memorial. So they're 2 of the 40 rockets that you might see on our city centre streets next year. So I thought you'd like to see them. But not only will there be 40 of the giant rockets, there's also going to be around 100 what we're calling junior jets. So in total, that could be up to 140 rockets all over our city. Now the junior jets are special because they're going to be yours. They'll be yours to decorate, and every school that signs up to the Rocket Round Leicester will be given their own sculpture, and that will be exhibited alongside the big rockets on the street for 10 weeks, and thousands of people will visit it. So I thought you might like to have a little look at what the junior jets are going to look like and maybe get some ideas about how you would decorate yours. So let me show you a quick picture of that. So here you can see the Stardust rocket that was at Victoria Park in the last picture. This time it's outside the cathedral, and here next to it is a junior jet rocket that hasn't yet been painted. So it's about, I'm just thinking now, it's about a metre and a half high, and you and your school and your class would get to decide exactly how you should paint that rocket. And you might have lots of ideas. You might decide that actually you'd like to decorate your rocket with just recyclable materials, or you might use special paints on it, or you might have a very special theme. Maybe your school has got a mission statement that's really important to you, and you want to use your rocket to showcase that. You can do absolutely anything you like, and you can be as creative as you like. But that rocket is yours, and not only is it yours to decorate and to exhibit on the streets, but it's also yours to keep forever in your school. So you'll always remember the special project that you took part in 2021. So not only will you have the chance to be creative with the rocket, but your school's also going to get a resource pack, and that's been put together by our friends at the National Space Centre, Leicester City Football Club in the community, and the fantastic team here at the council. So needless to say, it's going to be an excellent resource pack. And within that resource pack, we're going to explore themes like travel and transport, and that might mean that you get to talk to an expert from the National Space Centre maybe, or that your class goes on a special scaled solar system walk or bike ride around the city centre, and you could actually go and visit those rockets on the city streets. We're also going to have classroom projects that might include building and launching your own rocket that's made purely from sustainable materials, or you might be tasked with creating your own alien creatures that are based around real life animals and environmental factors. So there's lots involved in this project, and as I say, it's really special. You might have actually seen last night on the East Midlands News that there was a school featured, and they were proudly waving their green flag to show that they'd been awarded green flag status as an eco school. So if you're involved in Rocket Round Leicester, we'd actually support you to go after that award, and you could get your own flag at your school as well, and you could be flying a flag and say that you're an eco school. But as well as that, you might be able to apply for the Crest Award as well, which is all around science, technology and engineering. So there's lots of great reasons to be involved. And if they didn't sound good, you know, the other part of this project is that the whole time you're going to be supporting and raising money for our local hospice, Loros. So as well as the creative, amazing scientific and technical skills you'll be learning, you're also going to be supporting a local charity and raising much needed money. So I really encourage you to get involved. If anybody's got any questions, or if you want to find out any more about the project, you can visit the website, which is www.rocketroundleicester.co.uk, or you can drop us an email. It's rocketroundleicester@loros.co.uk. So we strongly encourage you to get involved, and we can't wait to work with you and see your amazing designs. Yeah, we look forward to it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Climate Action Fortnight, and thank you very much for having me.
Brilliant, thank you, Laura. And yeah, absolutely, it's going to be an amazing project. I know this is something that our team have been sort of talking about for quite a long time, and we are genuinely really excited about seeing all these rockets around Leicester next summer. And so many of our schools have been involved in this and been able to visit your sculpture around town, or maybe in one of the parks, so finding out all about that and going on an amazing adventure. So really exciting. And like I say, if you are interested, just get in touch with either Laura or ourselves, and we can pass on contact details. Fabulous. So our final speakers for today are our poets. So some of you might have seen the poets yesterday, and they're going to be presenting another selection of some of the poems from the book, and then afterwards I'll tell you a little bit about the competition if you didn't have a chance to see it yesterday.
This is called Always in My Pocket. I play the guitar and write songs, and I play in a folk club. We had a guest come to our folk club, somebody called Talis Kimberley. Really good singer, good writer, and she writes a lot of songs about the environment. And at the end of her set, she sang some brilliant songs, but at the end of her set, she gave us all a little present, a gift. And I thought, man, that's great. I'm going to write a poem all about that. So this is called Always in My Pocket. You know, when you're out and about and you're in a coffee shop or eating street food and you're given plastic cutlery and you think, that can't be good for the planet, because every day all that plastic gets thrown away. Well, I have come up with a simple solution. I carry with me at all times in my pocket a real shiny metal spoon. There we are. So in my pocket I carry the spoon that Talis Kimberley gave me. You can look her up, her songs are great. You need a spoon. Keep it in your pocket with your phone and your pen and your notebook, because you need a pen and a notebook with you at all times, don't you, if you're going to be a poet or a writer.
Little tip about poetry as well. I use rhyme quite a lot because I like writing in rhyme. If you want to have a go at writing in rhyme, get yourself some rhyming dictionaries in school. Most schools I go to don't have rhyming dictionaries. If you've not got rhyming dictionaries in school, see if you can use some of the iPads and download some free rhyming dictionaries. Mess around with it. Mess around with rhyme. I honestly think the best way when you're writing poems, though, to tell the truth is not to use rhyme, because you'll end up chasing the rhyme. So see how it works for you. Some people can do it, some people can't, but often it's best to try to start without rhyme first of all. And I bet I'm going to read you a poem that does rhyme now. This is a poem that's called Poem for Amina. And when I was writing this book, I was trying to find interesting stories about people who have changed the world and who are making changes for the better. And I read about a girl, a 15-year-old girl. She was called Amina Nazali, and she lives in Azerbaijan. And I was reading about her, and she invented something that used raindrops to generate electric power. And she had a motto, and that motto is light up one house at a time. And I just thought, in this world we live, there's people that can make these little changes and invent these things, and I was just really blown away. This is Poem for Amina. It's a really simple poem. We need something to believe in, right? Believe in a girl who turns water to light.
I've got another rhyming tip to add to Matt's point. In a poem, every line and every word is very important to the meaning of the whole poem. If you're writing about your dog and you say, I have a lovely dog who looks just like a frog, then really, unless your poem is specifically about a frog that looks like a dog, the second rhyme is only there because it is a rhyme and not because it really says anything about your dog. Rhymes don't have to come at the end of lines, they can come in the middle of the lines, and you can use your other writing tools to make your poem sound interesting and wonderful, like tools like rhythm and alliteration. Also, make sure your poem has a beginning and a middle and an end that's all on the same subject. It's easy to get hived off into another subject halfway through a poem. I've done it myself and find I'm writing an end to a different poem that I started. I'm going to read a poem now which has rhythm and rhyme. It's all about your packed lunch. Munch, crunch, packed lunch. Your packed lunch can, if you plan it, help to save our alien planet. You'll be saving just by scrapping straws and packets, plastic wrapping. Get an eco box or two made of wheat straw or bamboo. Put in your lunch and with no oil, the shut-tight lid won't let it spoil. Banish crisps and juice in boxes. Fill with wraps and nuts and coxes. Sliced ham rolled up, roast or parma. Blueberries, grapes or a banana. Salad slices, eggs and cheese. Pizza pieces, pickled peas, naan bread size, carrot crunch. Sustainable, sustaining lunch.
This is called Grandad's Tomatoes. So I imagined I was my grandson Sam. Okay, so I imagined Sam writing about his granddad's tomatoes. Grandad's tomatoes. When you walk into Grandad's greenhouse, you are zapped by that zingy tomato scent. There they are, tall and green in their grow bags, with their bright red inviting fruit. You pick some for the big salad, or for Grandad's favourite cheese and tomato sandwiches. And you think, I'll just try one. And you have never eaten a tomato as sweet before. The sunshine explodes in your mouth. And they are nothing like the tasteless, cellophane-wrapped tomatoes you often find in supermarkets. Grandad's tomatoes last through July and August and September. And when the very last red ripe tomatoes eaten and the last few green tomatoes are picked for chutney, we are all a little sad. But no one cries because Grandad saves some seeds and plants them. And in the spring, brand new tomato plants start to grow, ready for the new summer's taste sensation. There we are. And our tomatoes are just about hanging on into October. Look, here are a few. These are the little yellow ones I've been growing. These are really tasty. And we've got some red ones, and we've got some yellow ones. You know, you can find good tasting tomatoes in supermarkets, but generally, you know, they don't taste great. And tomatoes, you can grow them at home. Try growing things. Maybe grow some things in your classroom. Yeah.
So some really great ideas there to think about with your poetry. And again, I think I've learned a couple of things from our poets as well today. So for those that are not aware, we have got a competition that is taking place with whatever it takes, and we're inviting all of you to take part in these poems. So these poems you can do at home, or you could write in school, but the theme is certainly around Climate Action Fortnight with a clear environmental message. No more than 25 lines, but it can be a lot shorter, as quite a few of those poems were, but do remember to give it a title. Only one poem per student, so if you're one of these really keen people who writes lots of poems, you might have to just pick your favourite. There's runners-up categories will receive certificates, and the winning school will win a selection of climate action books that have been recommended by our friends at Creative Learning Services and Leicester Libraries. And the winning pupils will receive certificates and goodie bags. Deadline is Friday the 18th of December, which is the very last day of school this year, and winners will be announced on the 15th of January. And if you want any more information on that, if you go to our website, all that information is up there. So tomorrow is our last day of Climate Action Fortnight. So tomorrow we've got Alex Green from Ashton, who's going to be talking all about declaring climate emergencies and less CO2. And Dave from Climate, who is a climate activist, will be talking about how we can make changes and support everyone around the world through global justice. We've got some activities tomorrow with our carbon footprinting, and tomorrow is our day where we're encouraging schools to do an in-strike, where we want to see some of your signs and make an awareness around what we should be doing in schools around climate change. So as always, we've got our quiz questions today. So don't forget, these quizzes are all going to be submitted at the end of the fortnight, and again, some chance for some prizes. So question 1, what river runs through Leicester? Is it A, Soar, is it B, Nile, or is it C, Thames? Question 2, what is the name of our local water company here in Leicester? Is it Severn Trent? Is it Eon, or is it Blue Water? And question 3, what is the average UK household water usage? Is it 105 litres a day, 215 litres a day, or 345 litres a day? So have a think about what Phil was saying, and that might help you come up with some ideas. So as always, we'd love to find out what you're up to in Climate Action Fortnight. So get in touch with us through any of the social media using the hashtag ClimateActionLE. If you want any information from any of our speakers, or just some more information generally, get in touch with us either through the website or through our email. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow on our last day of Climate Action Fortnight. Thanks very much and have a great day.